contact. Oh jeez, that closed the end off.
I was trying to get bubbles. I got bubbles in my water.
Welcome to our humble Ginger Brewers channel. We've been asked by Side34 to do a simple step-by-step instructional video on the Klarstein Maischfest Kettle. So Dan and I have been brewing on this system for about 1.5 years now, so we're going to share some do's and some cock-ups that we've had on the Klarstein Maischfest Kettle. But if this is going to be your first brew using the Klarstein Maischfest, the Klarstein Kettle, we suggest that you just keep it simple. So without further ado, let's look at step 1, and that's going to be water. Living in Wales, we have access to the best water in the world. But as a general rule, if your water tastes good, it's going to be good to brew with. So we use it straight out of the tap and give it a couple of hours standing time to get rid of some chlorine. You're looking for hard water, but not too hard. And when you get more confident at brewing, you can dial in your water profile for certain styles of beer and adjust your pH in your mash for total mash efficiency. Let's look at mash volumes. So Dan's going to chuck that last litre in, that's going to make 17. On any 23 litre batch of beer, we found that adding 17 litres of strike water into the Klarstein Kettle gives us the best results. So if you want to get more technical with strike water volumes, I'll put a link in the description below to a website that can instruct you precise water volumes for the amount of grain used. So if you take this figure and then add about 3 to 4 litres, that'll compensate for the void around the basket. Okay then, let's look at step 2, setting the clock and the temperature on the Klarstein Kettle. Step 3, weigh the grain. Now Dan and I always weigh our grains out because it tends to be a cheaper way of doing it. But you can buy all grain kits that will give you just the precise amount of grain, hops, yeast and additives just for one brew. This tends to be a more expensive way of doing it, but you only buy what you need to use. So if you buy your grain separately, you're going to buy your hops separately. You're going to need a scale that goes in 1 gram increments. So here comes a top hop tip. So it's something we always do. First hop addition in the sock, so we don't forget the sock. We'll put that on the side for later. Another good tip would be to always put your hops in order once you've weighed them out. So now you've weighed your grains out, you're up to temperature, it's time for my favourite part, step 4, the mash. So this is one of the most important stages. This is where the starch is extracted from the grain and turned into fermentable sugars. All sorts of chemical processes are happening here, but fundamentally you're extracting sugar. So this process takes roughly an hour, but the recipes should lead you on this, and new concepts are looking to cut this mash time in half with no detrimental effect to the final beer. Dan and I, as a general rule, are still mashing in for an hour. Very important when you're stirring in the grains to avoid dough balls. For this, if you get yourself a brewer's paddle or a big whisk, I've heard are very good. Try and avoid what me and Dan did. We have a little bit of a problem.
What problem do we have?
My spoon, mine's not.
It's shrunk.
Mine's not as long as yours.
It's shrunk. I'm telling you, it's not what you got, it's how you use it.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we get any dough balls. So during the mash, this will lead us on to step 5, recirculation. Simply put, take the liquid from the tap and put it back into the top. So you want to aim to do between 3 and 5 recirculations during the mash. So just quickly, if you're getting any value from this or entertainment, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button. It helps us out a lot, and you'll get to see the next video as soon as it's released. So now on to step 6, the mash out.
We just knocked the temperature up to 75 degrees from 66, and that's called mashing out, so we're just mashing out now.
Hour and 10.
Yeah.
So we've had an hour mash, another 10 minutes to
mash out, yeah.
So you've raised your temperature to between 75 and 80 degrees C, or 167 to 176 degrees Fahrenheit. And again, lots of technical stuff going on here at this point in the mash. But essentially, you're halting the conversion of starches to sugars. You're turning off the enzymes.
He said to me, have we mashed out yet? Have we mashed out yet? Come on, Phil.
So let's go. Step 7, raise the grains and sparge. Ready?
Yep, let's go.
The raising of the grains and the downing of the Dan normally.
Yeah. Do you want a chair?
No, I'm good.
Right.
In die tree. Yeah, I need a chair. I need a chair.
Go on, Phil, do it again. Give us another laugh.
Oh, chair down, please.
It's not very cool. You can't get him up, Phil.
How safe's your table, mate?
Not that safe.
In die tree.
Okay, I've got one there, and there. That's it. Give it a twist, that's it.
You can sparge with cold water, and we've found that the beer didn't suffer any detrimental effects, but it is recommended to sparge with warm water and about 70 degrees C or 158 degrees Fahrenheit. We get this approximately by using 2 kettles of warm to 1 kettle of cold. So we do this because there are still sugars left in your grains, so we try and flush out as much sugar as we can. So as you can see here, we're using a colander to protect the grain bed to try and clear up the beer in the process. So the boil, you can put your kettle up to 3000 watts. This will help you boil a little bit quicker, but for goodness sake, keep your eye on the boil. We had a boil over.
We did have a boil over.
Keep your eye on your beer, brewers.
Especially to start with. Get complacent with these machines. It makes your life too easy.
So this leads us on to step 9, adding the hops. The recipe that you're using is going to dictate how long your boil is, but it's roughly about an hour normally. Now we add hops at the start of the brew for bittering and at the end of the brew for aroma and flavour. Certain styles of hops will do a bittering job, other hops will give you more flavour and aroma when used at the end of the boil. Now it took me a good few brews to understand when to add the hops because the timings I just couldn't get my head around. Let me show you what I mean. So we've got 4 hop additions. The first one, 20 grams of Northern Brewer, it says boil 60. So that's right at the start of the boil, 60 minutes to go. The second hop addition is 20 grams of Cascade, boil 45 minutes, 45 minutes left of the boil. Third, 20 grams of Cascade hops again, boil 10 minutes. 10 minutes left of a 60-minute boil. Now 50 grams of Cascade hops is at flame out, which is after the 60-minute boil is finished, and you're going to turn off the power on the kettle. So we've now come to the end of the boil. Let's move on to the cool down. So we put the cooling coil in 10 minutes before the end of the boil. Now this is to sterilize. Don't forget, always remove the blue caps off the end of the cooling coil.
But pull these off. I go away, I have a pee for 30 seconds, and he can't be just look at the window.
I never obstruct the pipe. So I'm agitating the coil to bring in more hot water into contact. Oh, jeez! I agitated off. Another cock up for the ginger brewers.
I have a little confession, I was trying to squeeze the water faster, I was squeezing the end.
That closed the end off.
I was trying to get good
bubbles.
I was trying to get bubbles. I built bubbles in my water.
So now we're getting to the end of the brew day. Step 11, decant to the fermenter.
You try the shot.
Alright, come on then. Aim.
What? Tag. Oh! Jackpot.
Ah, jackpot. So at this point in the brew, anything that touches the wort or the beer in the making has the potential to add in nasties and bugs and stuff like that. So we want anything that now touches the wort to be sterile.
Should I just open the tap?
Is it good?
Oh no, no.
What?
This is sorry bad language, but this is dipping in the bloody grass.
Is it off though? That's the main thing.
Clean the bloody ends.
Moving on to step 12, pitching the yeast. So don't forget the famous saying, brewers make the worts and the yeast makes the beer. So always look after your yeast and always pitch as per your instructions. I know some people like to hydrate their yeast whatever. Some people just pitch straight in to the wort. But if you look at your yeast packet, it will tell you whether this particular yeast needs hydrating or not. We have had some very successful brews using this kettle. If you could put in the comments anything that you want to see more of, we'll try and help you out. And those people who are more experienced than us, if you could also leave some comments for tips for other brewers who may have a little look through there on how to improve your brew day, make it easier. So thanks for making it this far in the video, and I hope it helps some of you people who have just bought the Klarstein kettle or in fact are moving on to all grain brewing. So here's a list of our brew days. Take a look and you will see that no given brew day is ever perfect.